Okay, Craig, whenever you are ready.
Yeah, 3.
Full house, a bigger space.
Yeah, whoever's presenting first. We're third. We're third.
I can stand in line.
It's after roll bit from the
Long time to be at the front.
Yeah.
I'm just here. She's right there. Yeah. Did you want me there? Huh? It's fine. I think we're running out of seats, so that's okay.
Great elevator.
Okay.
first one, I was scared, then now I'm a little less scared.
We're going to take you up to. We're taking you into line out. What message you have when we're closed? You too? Okay. You're just here for that one? Okay.
I'm just going to sit here. A little moral support. Scale. Oh, there's that. So cheer her on from the bedside. Okay.
That's just.
Wheels on the bus. Yeah, exactly. We kind of were like, oh, we should start with a song. Oh, not me. It was a good idea for about 2 seconds. Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay, we'll call the committee of the whole meeting to order at 1 p.m. for Monday, June 22nd. Jody?
Thank you. Good afternoon. Please note, committee of the whole meetings are streamed live and recorded on YouTube. Attendees acknowledge that in accordance with Section 20 sub 2 of the Access to Information Act and Section 4 sub C of the Protection of Privacy Act, names, addresses, and other details provided when speaking at a council meeting will be publicly shared. Should you have any questions related to the collection or disclosure of personal information, please contact the Legislative and Advisory Services Division for the Town of High River by sending an email to atip@highriver.ca. That is ATIPP@highriver.ca.
Thanks, Jody. Adoption of today's agenda. I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Barton. The committee of the whole adopt the agenda for the committee of the whole meeting June 22nd as presented.
Yeah, the motion.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Last meeting minutes. Ask for a motion from Councillor Cooey. The committee of the whole adopt the minutes from the June 8th, 2026 committee of the whole meeting as presented.
I'll give you that motion.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Better together. Shelley, Kaylee.
It's Katie.
It's all Kaylee.
It's all Katie.
Shelley just wanted to
There was
share.
this.
Well, thank you for having both of us up front. So I'm excited to be here today to give you a bit of an update on where we're at with the Better Together Regional Transportation Pilot Project. I'll start with a little bit of background, catch you up to where we're at today, and then hopefully some of our goals over the next year and a half or so until the grant funds come to an end, or at least what we have as of today. So back in August of 2024, we were part of a regional application to Healthy Aging Alberta to get funds for assisting our low-income older adult population in accessing transportation, whether it's for medical or social trips. So there were 3 other communities that partnered with us: Nanton, Diamond Valley, and Foothills County. We were successful in receiving those, and Foothills County is acting currently as our fiscal agent, just being that they're kind of the middle ground for all of us, so they've been doing that hard job for us, so we do thank them for that. One of the unique pieces with this, though, is that each community had some pre-existing programming. I'll be focusing today on what High River had to offer, but each community's project looks a little bit different. So if you were to ask Diamond Valley what they're doing with the grant funds, it will be different from High River. And so each community has adapted to the needs of its particular residents with these dollars. Pre-existing, Community Support Services offered a subsidized transportation program for older adults 65 and over for out-of-town medical trips only. So what we often would get calls at FCSS were for social trips. So if somebody needed to go to the airport, if a loved one had passed away or they wanted to visit family, or maybe even just a birthday party in the city, we weren't able to support them with that. So this grant allowed us to provide those social supports while also expanding the population that we could serve from those 55 to 64. Throughout the last, I guess, year and a half or so, up until April, the grant as a whole across the region provided 833 trips for residents in the Foothills area. There were 431 that were local. Okay, I did one more. I forgot that I'm not doing these. 431 that were local trips, so in-town services, and then 402 that were out of town. These have all, for the most part, been provided through either the High River Handy Bus or the Nanton Handy Van. We had reached out at the very beginning to the different services that were offered here in our community, but these were the only ones that were able to partner with our project at that time. And then the next slide, I just wanted to give a bit of an overview how you can see how this grant has really helped us fill gaps. So Diamond Valley, initially, they had the Sheep River Shuttle when we started this project. So most of their social needs were being met in town and through trips to Okotoks. The majority of their trips were done then for medical out of town. Foothills County, very similar to us, had a pre-existing program for out of town medical trips. So the majority of the trips that they have seen have been for social purposes. We have had a really strong uptake within our community. They are primarily in-town trips through this grant so far, but you can see that we've had more social trips than medical trips. So we're really trying to address that need, and I think this is speaking well that people are learning about the program and starting to use it for their benefit that way. One thing that we weren't expecting was how many people were using these to access their medical appointments in town. So going to their local doctor or dentist here, they're using our subsidized rates to get to those appointments as well. And then Nanton, they're unique out of the 4 communities in that they didn't have a pre-existing subsidy program of any kind. However, their Handy Van Society has expressed that their capacity cannot take on social trips anymore. So although they started at the beginning, they're not able to address that need anymore, and that's why you see the higher percentage being for their medical trips. Next one. So as I said, through this grant, because we already have that pre-existing medical program for out-of-town trips, most of our funds have gone to the in-town trips. We started very conservatively, not realizing how much of a need this was going to be. We said 1 trip a week per senior, and we just kept hearing how little that was and how much more they wanted to get out into the community. I think one great example was a lady who was working on physical rehabilitation after a stroke. She was going to the pool 3 times a week. And so us doing 1 a week wasn't as helpful if she could have gone. So we've worked our way to increasing to the point where now we're at unlimited in-town trips that are round trip for seniors or older adults in our community that qualify for the program. Right now that's averaging about $300 a month. So it's working really quite well for us. And then we still do have those out-of-town trips. So we've had some that are on the 2nd floor of the hospital who've been able to go and visit friends in Claire's home for the first time in a long time. Otherwise, that trip would be over $200. So we're able to subsidize it where the cost becomes affordable for them while they're still able to get out and meet those social needs and community. With that, We have currently had to put our pre-existing program through community support services on a wait list, just due to the budget and the increased demand on that program. And so we're expecting that for our next period, so we do have funding now till March of 2028, that we will see a bit of a rise in ridership. So we had kind of plateaued for a while through this program, but now that we've had to waitlist some, we're seeing more applicants being approved for this specifically and using these dollars first. So we're expecting that over the next year and a half, we would see about an extra 100 or so rides is what we're anticipating for right now. So again, just reaching more of that population that needs the support. Lastly, on the next one. So this was really exciting for us. Through the grant, we were able to start a local loop. There were definitely some hiccups at the beginning. This is new for us. It's a pilot project, so we're learning as we go. But one thing that we did hear is that seniors are really accustomed to already their door-to-door service through the handy bus, and because we are subsidizing that, they don't necessarily want to take the local loop. The nice thing about this though is that it doesn't have to be specifically for the older adults. This is open to the entire community, and we are very, very close to getting our Better Together shuttle on the road. So we do have a shuttle that is not handy bus specific. This will just have advertising on it for Better Together, so residents who maybe see it going around to the different loop stops know that that's what it is. They know that they can get on it, and our fingers are crossed that July 11th is our final inspection, that it will be able to hit the road and start picking people up. With that, there will also be a plan in place through Foothills County for advertising. This shuttle will also be extremely important for Nanton. So again, we don't want to cause any sort of competition with the Nanton Handy Van. So this would be something separate from the Handy Bus that would be able to provide sustainable in-town supports. Their current in-town trips are about $15, so it can be really cost preventative for their residents. And then same for Diamond Valley. Now that the Sheep River shuttle has been terminated, they're hoping that they can use this shuttle again and come up with a sustainable option to keep getting people where they need to go. And then lastly, our goals kind of moving forward. So again, just really increasing over the summer that awareness of the local loop, what it is, and really driving some advertising around that, trying to see what stops might need to shift or how we can do things to better meet community need, while also making sure it is focused on seniors. We also really want to target those who are 55 to 64. We do have quite a number of them, but again, maybe even with some of the changes to Asian ADAP with reducing some funds there, we might see an increase in ridership as well. And then just again, seeing those social opportunities. Last year we were able to provide Christmas tours, call them Twinkle Tours, and a Halloween tour, Schools on the Go, and they were booked up in no time. And so just having that social opportunity to get out, see the community, and have a bit of an evening out with friends, and would just prove to be extremely beneficial. And then lastly, again, just to support the wait list that we currently have, while also maintaining some sustainability. Throughout this project, each community has been really mindful of what would be sustainable if we don't continue to receive grant dollars moving forward. And our hope is that in making potentially some shifts with our subsidy rate review through CSS, that we would be able to direct some of the subsidy through the province, allowing a little bit more flexibility in the current budget that we have to continue to provide some of these in-town trips at a relatively reasonable cost. And if we can bump up that ridership on the local loop, the ridership dollars itself should help reduce the cost of those ongoing trips. Otherwise, that one may come to an end. But overall, we've heard a lot of great things from a lot of folks who've been able to do things they haven't been able to do in a long time, be able to connect more and be part of the community, which has been a really great thing. I'm open for any questions or comments.
Thanks, Kaylee. Questions? Vicky?
What are the people on the wait list currently doing, and how long is the wait list?
We don't know necessarily how long the wait list will be, but right now the subsidy program does 4 out-of-town trips for whatever purpose, with some wait time limitations. So we cover 2 hours of wait time, and then again the unlimited in-town trips. So for right now, they're just going through our subsidy program, which does offer more than what our pre-existing one was. It's just that for the grant purpose, anybody who is pre-existing on that program has to use our service first before before accessing that one.
Sorry?
So just with the grant, we had to, anybody that was pre-existing on our community support services program, we do have to utilize our dollars first before they access the grant. Anyone now on the wait list can just access the grant at the beginning.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Michael?
Application process, and is it tied to the grant? Do you guys take an application, then does it have to get put to the grant or the government for their stamp of approval, or?
No, they've been really flexible to let each community do what they need to do. So we had set out parameters of what eligibility would look like when we sent in the application. Because we already had the pre-existing program, we've just mirrored that application process, but with different titles and names on it.
So it's primarily, so it's income-based and then the age-based as well, but it is income-based. And because they run the income tax program, it's a perfect time you can see people's income right away, and then you can ask them, are you aware of this program? Did you know that you could qualify for this program? And try to catch them at that time. So that's where we've seen the spike in numbers as well. It was in Q1 just because of that income tax piece.
Anyone else? All good? Thanks, Kaylee. Well said, Shelley. The outdoor rink.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm here to provide a bit of a summary of how the outdoor rink is going since it's been built. So, yeah, our outdoor rink down at 820 Highwood Trail was completed in the fall, replacing the previous facility, which was reached the end of its life cycle. The new concrete rink represents a significant investment in this design to serve as a year-round recreational hub for our community. During the winter season, ice was installed using a best practice manual that was brought from the city of Edmonton, along with inputs from, we spoke with Okotoks, how they build their ice. We spoke with Willowbrook Community Association, how they built their ice, and that's how we came up with some of our best practices. And administration currently developed a draft for ice making manual for our own town, so that moving forward everyone kind of builds it the same way. This was the first full season of operation, and we introduced a higher level of service compared to the old rink. Ice was maintained regular flooding as weather permitted, daily, usually 2 guys, 4 hours a day. And snow clearing was contracted to ensure the snow was completely removed, so we had Farm Boy after every snowfall come in and remove the snow completely. We also implemented several operational improvements, including installing a new timer on the outdoor lights because it kind of kept tripping and the lights were coming on at all different times. We brought a garbage bin over at the entrance. We relocated the portable washroom from the tennis courts over to the outdoor rink, so now it can be used all year. And then from that, we would clean the player benches as they were cleaning the ice as well. From a safety perspective, administration established procedures to manage access during maintenance. The gate is locked during flooding or maintenance and then reopened once the work is complete. Through experience, we determined that keeping the gate unlocked outside of maintenance is important to prevent unsafe access attempts. We also began developing formal health and safety practices, including a draft standard operating procedure for flooding and a monthly inspection checklist similar to playground inspections. Minor deficiencies have been identified, such as some of the screws are breaking on the boards and some small areas of concrete are flaking, which are being addressed currently through warranty. Outside of winter, the rink is already being used for ball hockey with the net left over, with future enhancements such as basketball, hoops, soccer nets being considered for the 27 budget to further support our year-round use. Overall, the first year provided valuable lessons in operations, safety, and service levels. This new facility has significantly improved the quality of service and provides a versatile recreation space for residents. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Thanks, David. Jenny?
I do have a question about, sort of the neighborhood. There's probably complaints and all sorts of things, but in general, like for the lights tripping, or like, do they affect or bother any of the neighbors in that neighborhood?
The ones that back onto it.
And noise as well? Have we had,
I haven't heard any complaints about the noise. People have said that they've heard the noise, but I have no complaints. The lights tripping were definitely shining in the people who back onto the rink.
okay,
Shining into their windows and stuff, so that's where, we realized the timer was broken on the
and
lights.
so that sort of helped or alleviated some of that issue?
Yeah, it completely, and because then they shut off at 10 o'clock, so
Okay.
that's not an issue then.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Michael?
You mentioned 2 people, 4 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
Over what period of time? Is that
That's
every day
first.
through the winter?
That's what, like, by the time they go in, they clean it off from everyone
Yeah.
skating the night before, reflood the surface.
So essentially, we've got 1 FT the whole winter to take care of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe not concerning, but in my mind, concerning the flaking of the concrete. You said it was minor spots, but
There's a couple, yeah.
if it's in a couple spots, I'm already thinking that the concrete's not very good. I might just be having a negative perspective, but it's not that old that it's flaking already. Do we have any report back on why, or what we're gonna do to risk mitigate, or?
I don't have an answer for that, I don't really.
Okay.
But I know it has been sent off to the group that did the work, so.
Maybe Chris, you can provide some follow-up?
Yeah, we'll certainly bring something back once we understand what's happened. Certainly, you know, both our inspectors as well as the installers say that it's minor in nature, it's typical, but we want to make sure.
It appears to be where, because it was a giant pour, it's a really big pour, what happened is I think they started letting some of the edges set, and then they poured the new concrete beside it, so what we're seeing is some flaking where the concrete had to start to set, and then they poured in new concrete. So what they'll have to come do is break out all the loose concrete, and then they have special products to come and fill the flaking. So it's unfortunate, and they could have done better to prevent it. But on the flip side, it's not like it's a major structural deficiency or anything.
Vicky?
How long is the warranty?
1 year,
1 year?
yeah, it's up this fall.
Landscaping around there, every grass, so we're not in a mud bowl.
We're looking at options. We were looking at either grass or either putting some drain rock around it.
When?
I can't remember, I know Darlene and Nicole are looking into it.
Yeah.
I can't remember what she told me, to be honest.
Okay. Follow up on that, please.
Yes, when do we want something back?
Just an update next
Or
call.
just an update, yeah.
Yeah, next call.
Because I think she was targeting, if I remember right, she was targeting some, bring it back through budget, but.
That's kinda gotta get something
We
done
want to
this
do
year, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Anything else, Kathy?
There was a talk in, I think it was in the manual about evening floods.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious who was doing the evening floods?
We did have a staff member sometime, like especially early on when we were building the ice. Once the ice was established, we didn't have to do that anymore. It would just be in the mornings, but it's just getting the ice established up first. We have a few night floods with a couple staff members just to make sure that we're capitalizing on those colder temperatures.
Perfect, that makes sense. Thank you.
Jimmy?
I know this is in part, it might be a little bit premature on this, but we also talked about potentially getting the drink water system on site, so that we can.
It was gonna be a budget proposal coming up.
Okay.
We did some preliminary costing and the council wants that to be a budget proposal, we'll get a capital expense.
Okay.
All good? Thanks, David. Appreciate it. RCMP Annual Community Priority Plan. Greg, Jason, and Olivia are all here.
Piece of cake.
Greg, is this your last council meeting?
Could be.
Happy retirement. I got a congratulatory cold pulled pork sandwich here. I don't know where I put it. I'll get, oh, right there, with the salad.
It's very, very thoughtful.
Always thinking of you. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Olivia Mercy, I'm Peace Officer with the town. Today I'm replacing Austin Kessler, who decided to take a day off. I don't know why you trust me with that, but here I am. Today I'm with Mr. Jason Can and Staff Sergeant Greg Weep. Mr. Mayor, Council, thanks for having us here. Today we're going to talk the RCMP Annual Community Priority Plan. So each year, the High River RCMP and the Peace Officer engage with the resident through an online community survey and public open house to gather feedback on local policing priorities and community safety concerns. This public input, combined with local crime statistics, traffic data, and community trends, is used to develop the High River RCMP Detachment Annual Community Priority Plan. The Community Priority Plan identifies key area of focus for the coming year and guide policing effort within the community. Current priorities include enhance police visibility, improving traffic safety, and reducing property-related crime through targeted enforcement, community engagement, and proactive crime prevention initiative. Staff Sergeant Weep and Sergeant Can.
All right, thank you. Yeah, it was a wonderful introduction. So this year, we used to have the annual performance plan. It was developed by the RCMP. Alberta switched to a community priorities plan. It's an Alberta built, it's just a different format. Better tracks our community consultations. And on it, where we used to have two separate ones in High River, we have a Town of High River plan. We also have a Foothills plan. You'll see on this one, it's going to have the priorities for High River and for the Foothills in it as well. So I'll cover off the Town of High River priorities. So our traffic safety, we're conducting traffic stops or traffic contacts in accordance with the Alberta Traffic Priorities Calendar. So every month, Alberta has a new kind of priority, whether it's impaired driving, seatbelt enforcement, distracted driving. So we're kind of following that. And then on top, also conduct playground and school zone patrols. So we're looking for 300 on school zone and 500 for our traffic stops. Our police visibility, again, we're just tracking police involvement through community initiatives and engagement. So Councilor Brett Foley does a lot of these, where we want out in the community, whether it's going to the senior center to do fraud talks and kind of tracking scams, or Chamber of Commerce sometimes will go and doing talks there as well. Our foot patrols and different things of that nature. Property crime, drug crime. So last year we found a lot of success in kind of our targeted enforcement. We focused on maybe a residence that was a lot of crime was coming out of. And that's where we also brought in, probably the best example is a bait vehicle. An attempt to have it stolen, and we usually put that in an area that was maybe being targeted by different thefts. We saw a lot of recent thefts, we'd put that there. So we're looking at doing 2 of those this year again. And I think that's it for our goals that we had. If there's any questions?
I have one.
Pretty simple, go ahead, Vicki.
I'm just looking at your visibility, or listening to what you said about visibility, police visibility. Seems to me that you're talking to the law-abiding folk.
We are, yeah.
How do you become visible to the less law-abiding folk?
Those ones, so if we have someone in the community that may be out on bail and has conditions, so a curfew, we're going by and doing curfew checks on them. And then if we have, I guess, any residences too, where we have crime coming out of, you know, like maybe we know there's a lot of property crime coming out of this, we're on those residents frequently as well. With patrols or stopping in, if we have conditions on those, or kind of insert ourselves into those places, we're doing that.
Anytime we're visible in the public, whether it be a traffic stop or at an event, the law-abiding and non-law-abiding people are all floating around and see the police. So anytime we enhance our visibility, it's good for crime prevention as well, especially traffic stops. We have for the rural area as well, traffic contacts. So if you see red and blue lights flashing in a rural area, it is a deterrence for you if you're out doing nefarious acts.
That would be my assessment. The more we see you, the safer we are.
Property south of town, has that calmed down since they cleaned it all up and everything?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for the most part, incarcerations kind of come and go. But a lot of those people staying there have been displaced
and
outside of the community, or have left the community. And we worked, that was good, we worked with Child Family Services, like moved 2 youth out of there. Alberta Health Services we brought in as well, that got rid of a lot of those buildings because they didn't have plumbing or water. So, yeah.
Perfect. And thanks to the other 50%
was a
landowners
huge help.
that stepped up,
They're very lucky with that, yeah.
but got cleaned up, so very much.
Yeah.
There does seem to be stuff starting to collect though. When we look at the unsightly bylaw there, I drove by there the other day and there's stuff gathering again.
Starting to build up. That is
Yeah.
something that has been observed by our team as well. It's something that's gonna be on the plan. We are constantly in contact with the 50% owner of the property, which can create some potential for us to be able to reclean it. Now, it is very time consuming, as you can imagine. So we want to make sure that we stop it prior to it being to the state that it was prior, so it is on the radar.
Perfect. Vicki?
One more. I had a disturbing comment from a community member about a fellow that was apparently known to you folks, not that particular night, but he had gone onto an elderly person's deck and was on drugs of some kind. And I don't think he was eventually caught. The weapon he was flinging around was eventually found. But do we have a high incidence, or do we know who these people are that are drug users who can get into these situations? What's our status there?
I don't know that, I don't recall that specific incidents. We have, I'd say, a low number that we frequently deal with.
Apparently this fellow was a frequent flyer.
I'd have to look and see, to speak to that one, but, yeah. We have a couple that bounce around town that aren't strictly at a residence. Not that they're unhoused, but they're kind of couch surfing around town, yeah. But it's a low number.
And how do we manage them, or?
I mean, those ones, if we have something like of that nature that we can lay a charge on, that's where they're either getting remanded or they're coming out with conditions to maybe, you know, be at a specific residence, have a certain curfew, not to be, you know, not to have drugs or alcohol. Those are where we're doing those curfew checks or those checks on the breaches. So we put them into kind of a habitual offender file at our office that we keep track of. Goes out to all our members, and then we're regularly checking on them to try and curb that behavior if we can.
She called 911 and nothing horrible happened, but it's scary for her. And
absolutely.
Scary that he wasn't located that night. He may have since been located.
I would say that as a whole, that's a pretty low
Low incidence?
occurrence. We don't see that very often in High River. And if we are seeing an incident like that, it's usually, might be something with a substance issue where they're intoxicated or high, and they may not understand or realize where they are. So, yeah, but definitely not something that we see on the regular, so that would be probably more of a one-off than anything.
Okay, thanks.
Jenny?
What about our unhoused, our homeless population? I know we've had some issues in the past. How was it through the winter, and are you anticipating any issues sort of through the summer?
We have a handful that we've worked with. I think some, while we've engaged with resources in town, not all want to accept that help. So from the house we took down, we were able to take some into the city that got counseling and such.
Okay.
So we had some kind of positives over there. Yeah, we still have just a handful.
We do have a handful, and we are very lucky to have a partner at FCSS.
Yeah.
We do work in collaboration with them to establish a plan if help is desired by the individual. Now, in all honesty, it can be a challenging situation because often you displace them and then it comes back on the radar and then you have to remove them again. There is certain few people, we'd probably call it a half a dozen, that are around town at any moment, sometimes out of town. But it is something on which we are keeping a close eye, and it's something that we're monitoring with the help of our partners.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone that's unhoused that hasn't had contact with ourselves.
So if they want to stay unhoused, if they're not doing anything
That's kind of the challenge.
bad, nothing you can do about it.
There's a couple vehicle dwellers in town right now, and we've been engaged with them. But that's their preferences. No, I'm quite fine, quite happy, and don't need the support or services of anybody. So as long as they're not breaking the law or loitering or parking in a place where they're not supposed to be. And I think the town does very well with FCSS and peace officers in working with people who are walking through that scenario, whether it's short term or longer term, and making sure they have the supports they need, or at least that they're available to them should they decide to use them.
Perfect, thank you.
Michael? Oh, sorry, Doug, first. Michael.
This one, I was going to bring this up at the end as well, but just on, and something I guess maybe public education wise and stuff, but pathways themselves, with a lot of the e-bikes and stuff, I'm seeing a lot, and I've got a few phone calls and stuff with regards to that, about, just about getting run over by, and I know, and I ride the path myself, and, there is a respect thing, you see the pedestrian that, but is that something, and maybe it's a town thing more, that we need to do more of a public education on the uses of, because there's so much of it now, because it's so easy for everybody to get to, like with the scooters, but you'll see 7 of them going, and they're going flat out down the middle, and the pedestrians are actually
He's right here.
jumping off to the side.
That's one.
Yeah, there's one, yeah. But is that just something, like, cause I know you had some bike patrols, I think you did stuff too.
I would lean towards your suggestion that we would probably start with Brett Foley, our community liaison person working with the town media, and we can do some education on that field first. With the speeds of the e-bikes being 50K and whatnot, there could be a possibility the town would explore limits on happy trails. How to enforce it becomes a little more problematic, but.
I don't think there's any
On e-bikes, I thought that they weren't, no.
No speed limits for sure.
Yeah.
And that might be something to consider. You look at like Legacy Trail even has limits on it based on the e-bike traffic. It is very fast, even the little e-scooters, they move.
Oh, they motor just as fast as a lot of those bikes do.
But even public education, do you belong on a sidewalk, do you not belong on a sidewalk, what do you have on a sidewalk, those kind of things. It probably would hurt to touch that up again.
Comms types.
Yeah, certainly we can do that.
Appreciate that. Olivia, you're chomping.
I would be more than happy to jump back on the video train, to start educating our population as well. We are receiving also a few calls in regards to that. Legislation is established in the province of Alberta to a certain amount of CCs or of speed that can be actually utilized. That being said, enforcing that, and often there are youth utilizing those e-bikes and those e-scooters. Now, establishing a bylaw or any sort of law in regards to that, thinking about the enforcement side of it, it also needs to be realistic. Now, is presence and education the best path over enforcement? And that is something that I would personally prioritize in terms of, you know, we see them, we engage with them, remind them, as I do not believe that enforcement is actually realistic considering the speed of those vehicles, right? They're not registered, they're not insured, because they are not technically vehicles. They are bikes and e-bikes.
What are the rules on helmets?
Anyone under the age of 18 in the province of Alberta is required to wear a helmet on a bicycle.
Under 18
Yes.
in the province of Alberta is required to wear a helmet.
Yes.
It saved a life yesterday at 5:45 p.m. I can almost guarantee that. There was an
And yeah,
incident.
it's not lost. There are a plethora of young children ripping around town that don't have bike helmets on. So.
Yeah, like you see the kids on these e-scooters too now, right? That are just flying down 12th Avenue on the paths, on the north or south side of the paths, but.
No, I can simply say
I'd
that.
have to look into the scooter one. I know bicycle for sure,
Right.
it's in the legislation, but I'd have to look on this.
Yeah, like they're just flying on these things and not a helmet on any one of them.
Yeah, they're just as fast as a bike now.
Yeah,
And I got another problem that I don't even know if it's part of legislation or it can be, is like they're doubling, right?
Oh, yeah.
On the
Doubling on the
e-scooters.
scooters, yeah. With little kids.
Yeah.
Dad and the little kid hanging on for dear life. Oh, it's wild. They're doing that.
I saw something really strange, I've seen it twice, it's the same thing. It's a car, the width
Oh, the
of the
Geo.
sidewalk,
The Geo.
The Geo.
and he's driving on the sidewalk.
We have two of them.
They are not technically vehicles.
Sorry?
They're not technically vehicles. They are
Mobility devices.
mobility devices that have the extra layer on them. They do resemble a vehicle, especially they resemble a Mini or a,
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
the smart car.
A smart
But they
car,
are
like a
not
half a
vehicle.
smart car.
Yeah, but they're not illegal as if you take that shell out, it is a mobility vehicle. So,
So they're allowed on the sidewalks, because I
They are
see them
allowed
as a
on the
danger on the sidewalks. Wow, I saw one guy coming up Center Street.
it's the perception, but in terms of size, it is very similar to any other mobility scooters observed in town.
Okay.
All good? Perfect. Or sorry, Michael.
Thanks. Back to unhoused and drug use. I'm reading into what you shared with us that we don't have an escalating problem, that it's quite minor, maybe in terms of the size of our community, as compared to others. Just looking for your comment or
Obviously, we have,
perception on what that is.
I haven't seen an uptick in my time here. I think we've consistently had, there's drugs being sold in the community, there are problem houses in the community. We've addressed quite a few, and we just continue to do that. So we have a few on our radar again, and we're working those properties, and we'll just continue to combat
It's
that.
not like
But
all
as,
of a sudden we have a huge influx of,
no.
okay, awesome, thank you very much.
Just on our peace officer side, we were just discussing this last week. We did have an uptick in complaints relating to unhoused last year. A lot of it was repeat, but in 2024, we only
A
dealt
lot of
with
it was which?
repeat offenders. So in 24, we dealt with 11, 25 was 57, but that was a lot of displaced follow-up. 2026, we're back down to 16 year to date.
Yeah, so the number of communications doesn't necessarily mean that the number of individuals has increased, it just might be the contact that the complainant is having on an individual.
That's correct. We're seeing the population remain stable and safe.
Thank you.
The chamber sent out a survey to their members, asking about, want the town of High River to get more involved with homelessness in High River. So we're saying that, you're saying that, you know, and I contacted the chamber, ED, and, you know, this isn't new, but it's a lot less than it was a number of years ago. We had, what, 26 encampments in Rio Vista alone kind of thing, right? Where, you know, we're way off of that. Where are we seeing the problems? Like, who's the, like, is it, I'm told it's, these people are sleeping in the banks, and is that where we're getting these complaints from?
Most of the complaints do not necessarily come from businesses. We do see them when the temperature is below zero. That's in a blue moon. They are often very repeated individual. I can think of 3 in the last 4 years that I've observed myself that were going, but I do believe that those people are either out of town or in places where they are safe. To answer your question, Mr. Mayor, I do believe that at this point, especially with urban camping, might be the most, like on our green spaces where most of our unhoused population would be hiding, quote unquote, for lack of better terms.
Sure.
So that's where they're mostly reported.
Okay. We'll address that. Anything else? Jenny?
I was just gonna say, I was just looking up about e-scooters, and so it doesn't look like Alberta specifically has a lot of regulations around it. So like, for instance, Calgary allows e-scooters on bike lanes and Edmonton does not, so it's more of a provincial thing, or a municipal thing than a provincial thing.
Do either of them address speed?
Well, limit is 50 kilometers, but they're only supposed to go to 35, right?
Yeah, but there's ways around those on e-bikes as well as scooters.
Yeah.
Ask Kingmore.
Yeah. and then
Pass a reefer.
wearing a helmet isn't legally required, but it is strongly recommended.
The city of Calgary has had an influx of complaints about e-bikes and e-scooters on their bike paths. They do have an enforceable speed limit of 20 kilometers an hour for bikes of any nature, as well as scooters on the bike on the paths.
Calgary doesn't allow them. No, Calgary does, sorry.
Edmonton does. Okay. Guess it's on our plate now. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Happy retirement, Greg.
Yes, all the best.
Thanks for everything, Greg. Okay. Harold, Lane, what do you got on the grain elevator? I see the Tyvek is just whipping. Yeah. Really nice to look. Coming down.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'll just provide a bit of an update before Harold provides an update from the safety codes end. So since we met last, we received some feedback from Council and went back and decided the best approach moving forward. That ended up being a 1-year extension to the development permit as the applicant requested. And the second piece to that, which were the 2 items that are causing the biggest issues, is the exterior of the building and the landscaping, because we've had a lot of complaints from residents, and of course the town's noticed too. It's a big eyesore coming into a major part of town, which is on the north end. So the development permit extension was approved for 1 year. The expiry is May 8th, 2027. That was the timeline that the applicant requested. The second deadline to complete the building exterior and landscaping is August 8th, 2026, which was 3 months. And I worked with the applicant on that deadline to see what would be reasonable, to see what their timelines would be to get those 2 items complete. And that's what we agreed on. So that has happened since we have met last. And I know that Safety Codes also has an update as to the status on site right now, and I do have site photos which I could forward to Chris if everybody wants to see, but I'm pretty sure there's most people are driving past and seeing what's happening on at that location. Go ahead.
Yeah, since our meeting last, May 20th, I had a meeting with the design and drafting, Lane Martin, and the structural engineer is Chandel Pierce, to review the structure and proposed the repairs measures for the elevator project. The purpose of the meeting was to review the initial structural deficiencies and confirm the proposed remediation approach. During the review, it was noted that the existing rough grade around the building is excessive. The final rough grade is expected to be reduced to approximately 0.6 meters or 2 feet to accommodate the final grade and provide protection to the lower portion of the exterior building for moisture exposure and deterioration. Reviewed structural drawings have been provided. These drawings identify additional piles to be to improve the anchorages of the existing screw piles and the installation of the steel support brackets to installation of the steel support brackets to adequately support the exterior wall assemblies and supplementary reinforcing within the floor framing system. A detailed construction schedule will be provided following the contract approval based on the information available. The project financing appears to be in place. In conclusion, the proposed remediation plans address the identified structural grading deficiencies with implementation of the outline measures along with the appropriate inspections and oversight. The project is expected to meet compliance and that's about it.
The engineering report, have we received that?
Yeah, yes, I received the full report from the engineer and all the repairs, all the drawings, section drawings, and it all makes sense.
It was Lane that was here the last time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so he had mentioned about the failure on the foundation, the south side of the foundation. He was saying that's pushed the building a certain way, which makes those pillars off supporting that deck look one way.
Well,
I don't believe him. You drive by there, that wall looks straight, and those pillars look crooked. So,
yeah.
you know, I'm hearing different things about this foundation that they've screwed up.
Yeah, no, there is movement in the foundation. What the problem is the soil conditions are really bad. It's a swamp, and so you have a lot of moisture or fluid flowing underground. And because the piles were not anchored or didn't go down deep enough to be anchored into bedrock, on a normal situation that would have probably been fine, but because of the poor soil conditions, it was able to start moving the piles and the foundation. So it wasn't just the piles, what you see outside that's off out of line. It's also the walls have moved somewhat as well.
So how are they going to fix that?
Well, they're going. First of all, they're going to. Because the rough grade is way too high, so they're gonna excavate down 2 feet below the top of the foundation wall. And then they're going to put more piles down to support the existing screw piles. And with a combination of structural brackets and so on, and also reinforce the floor systems on the main floor as well. So there's quite a bit of work. They, from what I understand, they have bids on that for around $300,000 or more to fix the problems.
Any idea when they're gonna commence the work?
Well, from what I understand, they have their financing in place. They just have to get it all finalized with the lawyers. And once that's done, then they'll start on, because they already have bids on for the repairs. So once they have their finances in place, they'll start the repairs.
Any other questions? Shalane, you'll get up there with a stapler and put that tie back on.
Yep.
I guess it just seems to me that they keep coming back and saying, we'd like an extension, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do this, but nobody sees anybody there ever.
Yeah, well,
When's that?
First of all, because of the structural problems, I stopped any work inside the building because we don't want to overload the building to make the situation worse. And until they have all that fixed up, then they can start on the inside. But because their financing wasn't in place, nothing is being done. So until they get their financing, and right now it's in the lawyer, from what I understand, it's in the lawyer's hands to get it all signed off and approved. So we're close there, but I don't think they're gonna meet the deadlines that we set a few weeks back because of this financial delay, so they'll probably need a little extra time. Because the first thing they're gonna have to do is do the repairs of the building, then do the exterior finish of the building, and then do the landscape. So they're gonna have to do the 3 stages.
Okay. Nobody else? Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Variance application on 2nd Street, Michelle.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Michelle Dolmeyer with Planning and Development, speaking to item 5.1 on today's agenda. The proposed development is for a detached dwelling and a detached garage suite at 92 Street Southeast, which backs onto Birchwood Park. The property is zoned traditional neighborhood district and is considered an infill development within an established residential area. While the proposal generally complies with the land use bylaw, 4 variances have been requested. The first variance is for the principal building front setback. The land use bylaw requires a setback between 2 and 6 meters, while the applicant is proposing approximately 30 meters. Administration has no concerns as the setback is consistent with the development pattern along this portion of the street. The second variance relates to the detached garage suite being located in front of the principal dwelling, where the land use bylaw requires accessory buildings to be located behind principal buildings. Administration has also reviewed the proposal, the location, and has no concerns as it maintains an appropriate relationship with the street and the surrounding development. The third variance is for the frontage build-out. A minimum of 65% is required, while the proposal achieves approximately 46.7%. Administration considers this to be a result of the large lot width and does not believe it will negatively impact the character of the streetscape. The final variance relates to the maximum blank wall length on the street-facing elevation of the detached garage suite, which is the east elevation on page 47 of your agenda package. The land use bylaw permits a maximum blank wall length of 2 meters, while the proposal includes approximately 4.8 meters. The applicant has provided the rationale that the roof line, stairs, siding, and trim will provide a visual break. However, administration has concerns with this variance as the facade lacks the architectural detailing envisioned by the land use bylaw. Administration recommends that the detached garage suite elevation be revised to include additional design features to meet the land use bylaw and align with other garage suite designs along the street. At this stage, administration is seeking committee feedback on the proposal and requested variances. Following the circulation period and review of comments, the application will be refined as necessary before being brought forward to council for a decision. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. And the applicants are also here to answer any questions.
So it's the west
The
elevate?
east elevation for the detached garage suite, so right there.
Okay, but the big wall that you were talking about is that, not that one, it's the other one. Where is it?
This is the blank wall. So this would be fronting the street.
That's what would be out
Okay.
front of the street.
Yeah.
And Michelle, sorry, remind me of the recommendations?
Administration is recommending that the elevation be revised to include additional design features.
This hasn't been canvassed with the neighboring properties yet, am I right?
No, it has not been circulated to Jason.
Well, if you go on that street, this is like, what, the fourth or fifth one of that style on that street.
Yeah.
So I don't see that being an issue, but I do agree that that frontage looks more like a sided, I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, that's why I was
Than a
confused.
frontage, so it definitely needs some character there, for sure. But having it at the front of the lot and the house at the back goes along with 3 or 4 other ones on that street.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
So I have a question, what, in seeing that east elevation, what's considered additional design elements? Like you throw in 2 more windows and you guys are happy? Is that what we're looking at, or is it like?
Yeah, so the other ones along the street have definitely more windows and like curved appeal, I would say.
Yeah.
Versus this is just a very flat wall with like stairs going up the side. It looks like the other ones also have interior stairs or access from elsewhere. That these could just be more cost effective, which is fine, but yeah, even just additional windows or something.
Okay.
Even just the use of material, I think, would make a big difference if there was a variance in material, which I see there is some, but.
But it also looks even boxy from the end to a degree. Right, it's just, when you're looking at it from this.
Well, the secondary roof helps.
Yeah.
This is the roof over the stairs, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct.
If that balcony is bigger.
Yeah.
That's the lot with the big boat in it, right?
Yeah.
The boat's gone.
The boat's gone, but that was the landmark I was going with.
Yeah, that's what it's right there.
Did you fire it up? Did it run good?
I don't know.
It's parked still.
Not there.
All right.
Actually, in the aerial view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so you know too, there's a great big huge tree in front of that property,
Yeah.
the town's tree. Which needs permit.
Yeah, that's true. Oh,
So this is the end that we're talking about.
that's true. We don't, you don't see the roof, is that?
In that other
In that
picture.
other picture, you're right.
Whereas this one does show it, more so what the front is, and being the 2 color. It's on page 7 of the 12.
Page 45. Right.
Yeah, right there shows it a little bit better,
Some dimension for sure.
adds the dimension to it, and the siding in color.
You would definitely don't see that.
And then the trees here.
Yeah.
The trees right, basically where that porch is, I think, is it not? The tree is right out where the porch kind of is.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's
The
right
town
in
tree
front,
right in
yeah.
front of it.
Are you planning to keep all the trees?
One's town.
It's a town tree, so here you can see.
The trees are set to be like staying there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are,
So Michelle, from your standpoint, you guys are looking at this going, you know, as long as you try to dress up that front end a little bit more rather than the blank wall space, right?
Yeah, that's administration's concern with it, but at the end of the day, it's city council's.
but now that Garth is
When I look at this, that's a 3-story garage.
So the principal building is the 3-story, the
The main
detached garage
house.
suite is the
The main
2 stories.
house. That's the main house.
With the garage doors?
No, and this is the carriage house. That's the main house.
They both look 3 stories.
So that's the main house.
Yeah, so this is the main house, the 3 stories, and then the next
But
page
there's
is-
3 buildings on there. Which building are you talking about as the main house?
So this is all the same building.
So the main house is going to the back of the lot.
Right.
And then that's the main house. So then this is the carriage house.
3 stories.
No, it's just
2 stories.
Sorry?
It's just 2
2
stories.
Carriage house is 2, the house is 3.
Go down.
3.
No, this is the main house, but go down. Scroll down. That's the carriage house, that's only 2.
So we have,
But this is 2 different houses.
so we have 5 garages.
Yep.
And the height of this is not beyond what the neighborhood can handle?
The land use bylaw only requires stories.
Sorry?
The land use bylaw just references stories, there's not an actual height limit.
And there's 2 other houses on that section of that block that are similar size.
Mm-hmm. The one directly adjacent to it has installed yes, has
On
a
the north.
detached house and a detached garage suite as well.
Yeah.
It's not here, but he is right beside it. Just so, there's some context.
Does council have any feedback?
I like what you're saying, Michelle, with the, you know, the one blank wall. There's something that could be done there.
Just add some windows.
Yeah. Other than that, I think it, you know, fits with the property to the north. It's a very similar development. And, you know, this whole strip, like there's no alley access or anything there, right? So it is what it is, where the garage access has to be. And we're simply just gonna see more of this kind of stuff, you know, you go up the street a little bit, there's a huge lot. Woods property, I don't know if are they still there?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. You know, the old gladiola
The
garden.
gladiolas were looking good when I drove by
Oh,
There's
yesterday.
a lot of them.
Yeah.
And that gets dealt with sometime, right? So there's gonna be more of this that comes along in the future, but with these properties down at the very end there, they're unique little pieces to work with, right? So. I'm okay with it.
Yep.
Good? All good?
So just address the blank wall thing?
Yeah.
You guys are good?
Be done there.
Okay, great, thank you so much.
Thanks, Michelle. Gennady, the next one.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I have a variance application with variance requests for your feedback for today. This is in the Montrose area. The address is 420 Montrose Crescent Southeast. There are 2 requests for variance that come with this application, and they are for the secondary front setback and the frontage build out. The applicant did provide the rationale for why they're asking to vary these 2 standards, and it has to do with utility right-of-way and secondary frontage that makes it difficult or outright really impossible to achieve the frontage build-out requirement and the secondary front setback requirement without substantially altering their proposed design. Having reviewed the overall design and the rationale that the applicant provided, we are supportive of their two variance requests and would like to bring it to the next council meeting so that council can make a decision on the application. Does council have any questions or comments?
Vicky?
He really doesn't seem to have any alternative choices, does he?
Correct, yeah.
So why does this have to come back to council?
Right now, that's a process that we have for when council needs to make a decision on developments that require that kind of input. So we have it here for comments first. We are also finalizing comments with the applicant. And then the next meeting would be an opportunity for council to render their decision. We will come back with our draft notice of decision and council can make a decision.
Sorry, I'm confused. This is just a variance though, is it not?
This is a request for variance, yes.
But that's what we made the decision on last
Made the
meeting.
decision. Variance is coming.
Yeah, I know that. But they come back to here, we don't take every one of them up to council chambers. Every single one of them? Am I totally losing my mind here?
That's what you guys asked.
Well, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
I was gonna say long gone. No.
Why can't we just approve it here?
We can talk about it here, we just sit there downstairs, I'm not thinking about it too much. Okay,
Are we taking it back
Sorry.
upstairs right now?
No, it's gotta go.
Straight to second floor.
I think
Does council or mayor have any other comments?
Michael does.
I have a question.
Hopefully it's better than mine.
This was a good question.
In terms of, so I don't see anything for the garage, the detached garage in the back. Considering that it is on a corner of Third and Montrose something, is that what it is? Well, sorry, I just screwed up the street. But, like we were just talking about in the previous variance application and how the structure looks facing the street, because this is on two facings, let's call it. We've got some architectural design on the home that faces Third, so there's some character built into that wall. Do we do the same thing for the garage? Do we have the same requirement for the garage then? Or do we, on a corner lot like that, we only have one side of the street that's called front facing? Because to me, there's two facings. So.
No, that's correct.
Third looks like it's, gonna be heavily traveled, it's a populated area, and you're gonna see this garage wall that's probably gonna be vinyl siding, and it's just gonna be a big panel. So do we have anything that, I'm not trying to make this difficult for the builder, this is my own curiosity, how
No,
we think
absolutely.
what we do, so.
It is on a corner lot, so when we review the blank wall requirements, we do focus on the frontage and the secondary frontage. And in this situation, we would take a look at the garage. This is part of the comments that I will need to finalize with the builder. And at the moment, their intent was for it to only be a parking pad. So if that is actually what they're looking to do, we'll need to revise and make sure that that's the only thing we approve and review. If it's to be a garage as well as part of this development permit, then we would need to review for that.
Okay, but do we, I guess my big question is, do we have anything for this particular situation like that? Because I'm gonna stand up so that I'm clear for everybody. By meaning when I say two frontages. So this is facing towards this street here. That's the front of the house.
Yeah.
Then you got Third that goes this way, side of the house, side of the garage, but really that's pretty visible, right? Sidewalk, everybody drives by, it's not like the garage is hidden in the back. So do we do anything that's a requirement here on this wall of the garage to architecturally make it more appealing when it's forward facing to the public? Not saying it's ugly to begin with, but if we don't have it, and since we're talking about land use bylaw, and that's been a big topic of discussion in the community, if we don't have something, I'm putting it on the list to have something.
We do focus on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're likely to have a fence, like a 6-foot fence around their yard, right? So-
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it is an option, but we do focus on the secondary frontage when it comes to buildings, so in this situation, we would
Okay,
focus on it.
that's great. Thank you.
Any concerns? Thanks, Gennady.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Court. I'm gonna skip to public questions. Anybody? Al, Jamie? You don't want to? All good? Anybody? All good? Q&A, council to admin. Wide open. Kathy?
Is there any update on the insurance claim at Chevron Family Park for the school and the roof?
Oh, you're all looking at me. Yes. So we did run into some delays because the property was set for roof repair work to occur like the Monday after the tree had fallen on it. Insurance did do a full assessment, but then we were in a situation of do we use insurance preferred contractor or do we use the contractor that was already going to be doing the work? Just on Friday, it was either Thursday or Friday, we finally received the cost it would be to cancel the contract with the original contractor. And now they are making the decision whether they go with that contractor or whether they go with the insurance preferred contractor. So I don't have like an update as to when work is going to start. It did take quite a while for the contractor that was geared up to go to actually give us what the costing would be if we backed out of that contract.
And obviously, if we back out of that contract, insurance has got to cover that.
Yeah, there are provisions for insurance to include that as part of the like payout claim. Yeah, so I'm not sure which contractor we're gonna be going with right yet. I haven't received that confirmation yet.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Vicky?
This is, I guess, for Chris. I've had a request from someone in the community that we, at least on the new website or somewhere, put up an org chart for the town of Fire River. Is that something we can get working on or put up?
Well, we can actually add it right now, we have one.
That'd be great.
That one that we use on a regular basis, and so we can certainly add that into the website.
Super, thank you.
Sorry, one more quick.
Yep.
I had a question from the public, just curious, whose responsibility is the front entrance of the library? As far as maintenance and all of that?
So are you talking about just like outside the doors?
Yes.
Us.
Okay. Yeah, no, there was just a concern, I think it looking a little, I think there was some rust draining from one of the pile that was on the concrete, just it needing a little bit of a brush up and a clean up, and so someone had asked who was responsible for that, so I said I would follow up.
Yeah, so it's us.
Okay, thank you.
Jamie?
I had a member of the public bring something forward about parking out at the pump track and the spray park, parking right in front of their house and then walking across the street to go to the spray park. Not that it's an issue now, but if the proposed ideas of whatever we're gonna do along the High Country Drive, how that comes into play, what we can do to address it. Whether we just say to patrons, you gotta park, like patrons of those two facilities, you gotta park in the parking lot. Because there was apparently at that particular time, there's only a couple cars in there, but they chose to park in front of somebody's house instead, so.
But they're allowed to park, that's.
They are, but I'm just saying that's whatever we're planning to do, we need to keep that in mind, right? Because we're already, whatever changes we make are gonna impact existing habits, right? Of both patrons of the spray park and also patrons who live there, right? So we need to be aware of that.
Yeah, I think we've noted kind of those concerns already through our public engagement process, and the High Country Drive report is in its final kind of draft circulation that will be presented to council probably in August, maybe September. and then we'll complete that report and kind of start considering whether or not we can put recommendations or not.
Okay. Michael?
Really kind of, yeah, just in the weeds a bit. Potholes at 7th and Cold Trail. 7th, right? Yeah, Candy Cane Corner? Yep. That whole strip there is kind of in not a great state of repair. I live up in that corner, you know, and I've had a few comments just from people that it's rough and they get knocked around a bit, so we're coming to July already.
Is that where it bends and meets the gravel in that corner?
Meets the ground?
No,
we're talking,
just north of Caesar's.
if you're coming east on
the
Cole
other
and you're gonna run into Ellis's property, well,
Yeah,
I don't know if it's Ellis's property anymore, but, that T intersection right there, when you're going east and then you turn left to go to the 2A, that, right there, well, that whole strip, like.
The whole strip is rough.
Yeah, all the fines are starting to come out of that asphalt, right? So you're gonna start seeing that break apart some more.
It's pretty permanent, but.
What's Chris?
I'd just like to take the opportunity to introduce our new aquatics manager, Kelsey. She joins us.
Yeah!
Great Valley. Actually worked with them to open their pool, so has some very relevant experience for our upcoming near future, and we're very happy to have her on board. So if you could take the opportunity to say hello and introduce yourself between meetings, I'd appreciate it.
Well, we're gonna send you a challenge.
Yeah, Kelsey, beginning of August, we'll be in the pool then, it's, yeah, beginning of August, we'll be in the pool.
Just nod.
That's awesome, thank you. Anybody else Q&A? Meeting adjourned 2:20.